In a world fraught with challenges, there's one deeply personal battle that touches the lives of millions across the globe. Substance use disorder, or SUD, is not just a diagnosis. It's a relentless adversary faced by individuals every single day. Today, we will discuss about the intricate layers of SUD, a condition that often remains shrouded in misconceptions, and to explore the promise of recovery. Defining substance use disorder. Substance use disorder, or SUD, is a mental health condition where an individual grapples with a problematic pattern of substance use, causing distress and impairing their life. It's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. SUD exists on a spectrum, ranging from mild to moderate to severe. At its core, SUD involves an overpowering desire for the substance, an increased tolerance, and the painful withdrawal symptoms experienced upon quitting. It's crucial to understand that a person can simultaneously wrestle with more than one substance use disorder, such as alcohol use disorder and cocaine use disorder. This condition profoundly impacts health, relationships, and overall quality of life, and, in some cases, it can even be life-threatening. Recognizing the signs of SUD and seeking help is a critical step towards a healthier future. The spectrum of substances. Substances, the catalysts of SUD, come in various forms, from prescription medications to non-medical drugs. They encompass a wide range, including alcohol, caffeine, cannabis, hallucinogens like PCP and LSD, hypnotics, sedatives, and anxiolytics, anti-anxiety drugs, inhalants, prescription and non-prescription opioids, stimulants, and tobacco, nicotine. While these substances may appear drastically different, they share a common thread. They powerfully activate the brain's reward center, inducing feelings of pleasure. The roots of usage. The journey into substance use often commences for various reasons. People may be driven by a desire to feel good, chasing moments of pleasure, euphoria, or intoxication. Others turn to substances to feel better, seeking solace from stress, an escape from life's burdens, or a numbing of their pain. Some believe substances can help them do better, enhancing their performance or cognitive abilities. Curiosity and peer pressure also play their part, enticing individuals down a treacherous path of experimentation. Understanding the myriad reasons behind initial substance use is essential to addressing the challenges of SUD. Discerning SUD from misuse. It's crucial to differentiate between substance use, or misuse, and substance use disorder. Substance use or misuse refers to occasional encounters with substances, rather than a chronic pattern of use. However, even infrequent use can lead to tolerance and dependence. Some substances, like tobacco, heroin, cocaine, alcohol, and benzodiazepines, hold the power to captivate and ensnare. The journey from SUD to addiction. Substance use disorder, however, is not a singular state. It exists on a spectrum from mild to moderate to severe. At the extreme end of this spectrum lies addiction, the most severe form of SUD. Addiction is the point where the brain's reward system takes control, intensifying the compulsion to use substances despite devastating consequences. Both SUD and addiction involve physical and psychological dependence, where the substance takes center stage in a person's thoughts, emotions, and activities. The power of language. The words we use have a profound impact, and in the context of SUD, terminology has evolved. In the past, phrases like addiction, abuse, and dependence were commonly employed. However, today, we embrace the term substance use disorder to provide clarity in diagnosis. This term recognizes the diverse spectrum of problematic substance use, transcending mere physiological addiction. The previous labels often carried stigma and negative connotations, sometimes trivializing the intricate nature of true addiction and SUD. Common but complex. Substance use disorders are far from isolated occurrences. They are alarmingly common. Over 20 million people in the United States grapple with SUD, and astonishingly, 20% of individuals facing depression or anxiety also battle SUD. It's a widespread struggle, intricately interwoven into the fabric of our society. The making of SUD. How does substance use disorder come into being? It all begins within the intricate landscape of the brain, particularly in the heart of the reward center. Humans are inherently driven to seek out rewards, often deriving them from healthy behaviors. These rewards emerge when we engage in life's simple joys, such as spending time with loved ones or relishing a delicious meal. In response, our bodies release dopamine, a chemical that bestows feelings of pleasure. It's a beautiful cycle. The more we seek out these rewarding experiences, the more we receive those precious moments of bliss. The influence of substances. However, substances possess the power to disrupt this delicate balance. When substances enter the equation, they release massive surges of dopamine in the brain, akin to a floodgate being thrown open. But instead of motivating us to carry out vital life functions like eating, working, or spending time with loved ones, these surges can trigger detrimental changes in our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The dark side of excessive dopamine, the result is an unhealthy craving for more pleasure, derived not from life's simple joys but from the very substances that have hijacked our brains. Over time, our brain chemistry becomes altered, and we find ourselves growing desensitized to the effects of the substances. It's a cruel paradox. As the pleasure wanes, the desire for more intensifies. The torment of withdrawal. For certain substances, such as opioids, the agony of withdrawal is a relentless force, creating a profound motivation to continue using them. The pain of withdrawal can be so severe that it becomes a seemingly insurmountable hurdle. Genetic vulnerability. Unfolding in parallel with this tumultuous journey are the genetic factors at play. Studies reveal that between 40% to 60% of vulnerability to any substance use disorder can be attributed to our genes. If you happen to have a first-degree relative, like a biological sibling or parent, with SUD, your own risk escalates. Scientists tirelessly seek specific genes that contribute to this vulnerability. For instance, they've unearthed a link between the CHRNA2 gene on chromosome 8 and cannabis use disorder, often associated with an earlier age of diagnosis. The complex interplay of mental health, but genetics is only part of the story. Mental health conditions and SUD often engage in an intricate dance. It's called a dual diagnosis, where roughly half of those grappling with a mental health condition simultaneously battle a substance use disorder. In the year 2020, a staggering 17 million US adults found themselves caught in this double bind. These conditions are interwoven, connected by shared elements like genetic predispositions, common brain regions, and the sway of environmental influences. Research tells us that mental illness can become a precursor to SUD, and vice versa. If you carry the burden of mental health conditions like attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, depression, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, or post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, your journey is fraught with additional hurdles. The impact of access and exposure. Access to substances is a particularly significant environmental risk factor. Factors that increase the extent of exposure and the opportunity for substance use include the use of substances by a member of your household, your peers, or being prescribed a drug that can be misused, such as opioids or stimulants. Adolescents, in particular, are vulnerable to developing SUD due to increased exposure. Those who initiate substance use at an early age are more likely to develop an SUD. About 70% of individuals who began using substances at age 13 eventually develop an SUD, compared to 27% who started at age 17. Furthermore, substances that are legally and readily available, such as alcohol and tobacco, pose a higher risk of progressing to problematic use. Opioids serve as another example of this, as their availability and volume make them easier to access. Treatment and hope. The journey to recovery is possible, and it's paved with a combination of treatments tailored to individual needs. Understanding that SUD often accompanies co-occurring mental health conditions, treating them together rather than separately is generally more effective. Treatment for SUD encompasses three primary forms: detoxification, cognitive and behavioral therapies, and medication-assisted therapies. These treatments can be administered in various settings, including outpatient counseling, intensive outpatient treatment, inpatient treatment, and long-term therapeutic communities. Detoxification serves as the first crucial step in treatment. It involves discontinuing the use of the substance, allowing it to leave your body. Depending on the severity of the SUD, the substance may be tapered off to lessen withdrawal effects. Detoxification can be carried out in both inpatient and outpatient settings. Cognitive and behavioral therapies, psychotherapy, or talk therapy, plays a pivotal role in treating SUD and co-occurring mental health conditions. It provides tools for understanding and managing emotions and developing healthy coping mechanisms. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, and other therapies can be recommended, often in combination with medications. Medication-assisted therapies. Medications can help modify brain chemistry and alleviate cravings and withdrawal symptoms for certain SUDs. FDA-approved medications like methadone, buprenorphine, naltrexone, acamprosate, and disulfiram can be vital components of the treatment plan. Prevention and self-care. Prevention is a powerful tool in the fight against substance use and SUD, and it begins with education. Schools, communities, and families play a pivotal role in preventing substance use, misuse, or the first misuse of prescription medication. Following prescription instructions, responsible storage of medications, and safe disposal of leftover prescription medications all contribute to prevention efforts. It's important to recognize that the risk of substance use escalates during times of stress and change. Adults may be affected by life-altering events such as divorce, job loss, or the loss of a loved one. Similarly, teenagers navigating changes like moving, family divorce, or changing schools are more vulnerable. It's essential to adopt healthy coping mechanisms during these times, whether it's through exercise, meditation, or learning new hobbies. Seeking the guidance of a mental health professional is a wise choice when stress feels overwhelming. Complicated consequences. The consequences of SUD are extensive and vary according to the type of substance used. It impacts multiple systems in the body, including the nervous, cardiovascular, endocrine, immune, and hepatic systems. Complications can range from memory loss and cognitive issues to cardiovascular problems, respiratory depression, organ failure, and death. The risk of certain cancers and blood-borne virus infections is also heightened. Helping a loved one. Discovering that a loved one may be battling substance use disorder can be a challenging and distressing experience. When facing this situation, remember that early intervention is key. Address your concerns, offer support, and help them find treatment options without judgment. Empathy and patience are your allies. Listen thoughtfully, even when met with denial or anger. Substance use disorder is a complex condition with no quick fixes. It's essential to take care of yourself as well. Friends and family members of those with SUD often experience stress, depression, and isolation. Seek help if you need it and consider joining support groups in your community. Conclusion. Substance use disorder is a complex mental health condition, a battle fought not in isolation but with support and understanding. Whether you or a loved one are confronting SUD, the path to healing begins with a conversation. Reach out to a healthcare provider as soon as possible. With their guidance, recovery is not just a dream but an attainable reality. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. Substance use disorder is a formidable opponent, but with the right help, recovery is within reach. Connect with SAMHSA's Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357, also known as the Treatment Referral Routing Service, or TTY, 1-800-487-4889. This is a confidential, free, round-the-clock, year-round information service available in both English and Spanish. It's here to assist individuals and their families dealing with mental and/or substance use disorders. The service offers referrals to nearby treatment facilities, support groups, and community-based organizations. You can also explore the online treatment locator, or simply text your zip code to 435748, HELP4U, to find help nearby. Learn more about the HELP4U text messaging service.